It's Wednesday. We have 13 days to go. You know what that means? We've got a brand new updated road to 270. This is the Sean Spicer Show. Let's get into it. All right, guys, here we are. We're down to the wire. I'm getting a little giddy here. Only two more road to 270s. We've got this one, and the next week will be our final one, and then we'll be talking about hopefully victory on that next Wednesday, and we've got great analysis. By the way, big announcement for you. We have a massive election night planned for you. Hopefully, you will spend it with us. So we'll do the show, and then we'll go live from 8 until at least midnight. We've got a live in-studio location that we will reveal to you. It's going to be massive. A lot of in-studio guests that we're working on. We've got a brand new election night studio headquarters. I'm so excited. This is going to be at least 4 hours. Hopefully we get this thing wrapped up by midnight and we can all go home. But even on 2016, I think it was 2, 3 a.m. So I don't know. Like, let's just say that we'll be there with you. But it's going to be really cool. We've got a lot of stuff in store. So right now, start putting on your calendar, spending election night with Sean Spicer. Mark it down. Whole night. We will have live feeds. We're going to have analysis. I mean, you guys know what we do, and we'll do it better than anybody else because we're going to break down what's really happening. We have back channels to the campaign, so we're going to tell you what's actually happening. So plan on spending election night with us. By the way, I got my sticker on. I got excited. This is my I voted in Alexandria, Virginia sticker, but I just wanted to wear it. I feel like, if we're talking road to 270, maybe I'll wear it even for the panel tomorrow. So who knows? But anyway, we got a great panel planned for you tomorrow too. It's so much to break down with them because there's a lot of palace intrigue about what's going on. I'm going to ask them a lot of interesting questions. The Dems keep losing their mind about this McDonald's visit that Trump did on Saturday. We talked about it. I mean, I don't know why they kick it over. They staged that fake Wawa. Remember that? Or Sheetz it was. She went to that gas station and they taped multiple edits of her trying to find red Doritos. Oh, Dougie, can you find me the red Doritos? Tim, can you find me the red Doritos? I mean, they have no problem with staged events, but when they do it themselves, like, that's no big deal. When Trump goes to McDonald's, it's, oh my God, you won't believe what he just did. They keep losing their mind. And McDonald's has put out a statement, but here's the kicker. And you remember I told you that Garrett Hake from NBC keeps saying Donald Trump, without evidence, says that she never worked at McDonald's. Here's their statement. This is from McDonald's. It says, though we are not a political brand, we've been proud to hear former President Trump's love for McDonald's and Vice President Harris's fond memories working under the arches. While we and our franchises don't have records for all positions dating back to the 80s, blah, 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 blah. I mean, they're making it clear we have no evidence she actually worked here. So they love to go after Donald Trump, but they have no evidence she worked there either. And neither does she. So I'm just saying, it's so funny how NBC, whether it's Hallie Jackson or Garrett Hake, I mean, they're all in on he falsely claimed or without evidence. And yet the other side never has to prove their side, right? They are so anti-Trump. It's unbelievable. All right. We have so much to get to. I'm going to run through all the states, as you guys know. This is going to be, I have a lot of stuff to share for you because, among Latino, let's just talk macro before we get into the states. New Fox polling shows Trump up 49, 11 points to Harris's 38 among Latino voters. This is huge. And I would just tell you that all of these things that we're going to see today are not good for Harris. And it's all data driven, right? We get asked about vibes, yard signs, poly markets, whatever. To me, that's nice. It makes you feel good. But at the end of the day, it's data driven. How many people are actually casting a ballot? We're seeing some new polling. We'll talk about this. Arizona, this is the Arizona up 3. Georgia says Harris is up 4. Michigan 2. Nevada tied. North Carolina 3. Pennsylvania up 2. And Harris is up 3 in Wisconsin. Then we've got another set of polls per TPP, which shows her up nationally 2. Who cares? And then in Georgia, Trump up 1 per American Greatness TIPP. Trump 3 in in Georgia as well, but that's per East Carolina University. Florida, Rick Scott's up 8. That's huge for him. And in Texas, Ted Cruz is up 7, according to the University of Texas. So those are all just some polls I wanted to give you before we break down the states. Let me just tell you, I got a couple of our great sponsors to talk about, and then we're going to go down to the states as we always do. As you guys know, one of the big winners always, no matter what, is Leo Grillo. He's the founder of Delta Rescue. I can't say enough about, if you're an animal lover or a rescuer, then this is like a guy that, frankly, on a bipartisan basis, we should love. He founded the largest no-kill sanctuary, not shelter, sanctuary in the world. Like, this is amazing what he's done. It all started with one dog, a Doberman that he rescued named Delta. And then he kept just making it bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you ever go on deltarescue.org, and I urge you, just go click on it. Because I think sometimes you have a visual of what you know, if you've been to a shelter, we've been to several because that's where we get our dogs. But if you want to see what I'm talking about when I say a no-kill sanctuary, go on to deltarescue.org. Take a look at this and you'll get a sense. This is like massive. And he takes care of all of these animals, dogs, cats, birds, horses, whatever, that are malnutrition, abandoned, abused, and gives them the care they need for life. It's so cool to look at. And he's got these videos on Delta Rescue. And if you can make a contribution, he's not a guy looking for a government handout. He's got a lifelong mission to care for these animals, and he relies on our help. So think about making a $50, $100, $1,000, whatever dollar donation. It's just cool to support causes you care about. He's a great guy doing great things with animals. And if you can go on that website and go to the estate planning kit, it's one of the tabs up top. Do me a favor, just read it. Download it, read it, think about it, pray about it. See if, like, when you are putting your estate together, you could consider Delta Rescue for part of it. Maybe you have some stocks or an IRA or something like that that you don't know what to do with. Maybe Delta Rescue fits what you want to do. So think about it, pray about it. I appreciate your consideration. All right. I said this the other day. I want to make sure we put the election in context before we get to the states. Trump is in much better shape than he was in either 2016 or 2020. And this is important to know. In 2016, Hillary was up 47-39 nationally. I tell you this not because I care about national polls, but I want to give you some context. And Trump won that election, right? This same point in time in October. Biden was up 53-42, 11 points. And we told you some of these. Now, in that same poll, over the cycles, Harris is up 1. Doesn't mean she's up 1. It just means if you look at the same poll the last 3 cycles, that's great news for Trump. I mean, I not that should blow your mind, but I want to show you this other map that Nate Silver had in the New York Times. And we always talk about if polls are wrong, right? Well, he did this great little graphic where he said, okay, here's what the current polls are in terms of the averages of the polls. And then if the polls were off like they were in 2022, here's what happens. If they're off like they were in 2022, it'll be a good night for Harris. But that's not going to happen. That was a midterm. It's a very different subset of voters. But if they were off like they were in 2020, it's a win in Pennsylvania. I'm not even going to go through this. It's a win in every battleground state. I mean, it's the margin's different. He'll win Wisconsin by 9. He'll win, by 3. He'll win Michigan by, he'll win nationally by 1. I'm getting my lines off. Pennsylvania by 3, Wisconsin by 9, Michigan by 5, Nevada by 3, North Carolina by 4, Georgia by 2, and Arizona by 5. And the funny thing is, this tracks what we're about to tell you. And then the last thing I'll just say before, we got a couple other things to get into, but before I get into all the states, and we'll go quickly through the first ones. The early vote is huge, and the Dems are freaking out. They are on their heels. Georgia, North Carolina, Nevada. We'll talk about this as we talk about the states, but I'm telling you right now, this is a big problem. And why do you see it? It's the evidence that matters, right? I'm telling you, look at some of these vulnerable Democrats that are running for the Senate. John Tester in Montana, Baldwin in Wisconsin, Slotkin in Michigan, Casey in Pennsylvania. They are all now running ads at the very end with them and Trump, talking about them voting with Trump and Trump policies. They know Trump's going to win their state. And you don't do that if it's razor thin, like if it's Trump's up by 1/10 of a point or something. You know that he's going to win, and you're trying to get your team to say, oh, I'm a good partner to Trump, which is a lie. They see it in their data. Take out Tester for a second. He knows he's done. He's cooked. He's gone. Bye-bye. Okay. West Virginia's a pickup. Montana's a pickup. I think Ohio's a pickup. But the blue wall states, all of them are doing the same thing. The same thing. Why? See, this is the thing. It's not like an outlier. Baldwin, Slotkin, and Casey, the blue wall Democrats running for the Senate, are all running ads at the same time talking about aligning with Trump. They know they're in trouble. Okay. So let me get to the map. Before I do that, I got a brand new sponsor I want to tell you about, because we do this stuff. We'll tell you where every state is, right? And sometimes you go, oh my gosh, I wish I could act on this. I wish I could bet on. You can now. There's a brand new sponsor that we've got called Kalshi. And if you think you know who's going to win, not just the presidential race, but the House or the Senate, there's finally a platform that you can use called Kalshi. It's created by two MIT engineers. It is the first legal exchange where you can trade or bet on any event, but politics being one of them, which is really cool because the election's coming up. You see this show and you want to know what to do about it. You've got all this information now, and you're thinking, okay, what do I do now that Sean's told me what is going to happen in each of these states? Now you can go to Kalshi. They have markets on who's going to win the president, the House, the Senate, and they've done like $1 billion almost in trades. So, for example, if you think that Trump and Kamala are trading 50-50 and one of them wins and you bet with Trump, you will double your money. So that's not bad. So you can literally do, well, I'll just let you go to Kalshi and check it out. So put your money where your mouth is, where your lawn side is. Go give Kalshi a try. And if you sign up with my link, it's KALSHI, Kalshi.com/Spicer. It's with a K. So Kalshi, KALSHI.com/Spicer. And the first 500 traders who deposit $100 are getting $20 free, right? I mean, that's like a nice little 20% return on investment. So check it out. Go to Kalshi.com/Spicer. And remember, the first 500 of you to do this are going to get $20 when you deposit 100. All right, let's get to the map. And I'm going to go quickly through this because it's important for you to see all this. And then we'll get to the battleground states. We've done this before. We'll do it as we've always done, left to right, north to south. We're going to start with this, but I do, based on some of the stuff that Seth Keshel and I were talking about the other day, plus some of the other guests this week, I've got some updates that you'll see. So let's just start, as we do, with the Kamala side, the blue side. We're going to start putting in her stuff. Washington is 12 to Kamala, so let's give that to her. We know that. Oregon has got 8. We put it in her column. California's got 54. We'll throw that in there. Now, here's the thing. We talked about New Mexico last time. I said solid blue, and then Seth Keshel was like, well, here's what's going on. I'm going to take that back from solid blue to light blue. So it will still count for her, but I'm not as sure after what Seth told us. And I'm just saying, so we're going to put New Mexico in the light blue. Okay. Now let's go back up a little further east, start up north and go down. Okay. Minnesota. I'm going to say the same thing about this, like based on what Seth explained the other night. We had it solid blue and I'm moving it back to light blue. Harris is up there 2.1. That's not huge. Seth was right. When you start to go in the data, just because it wasn't getting national news, that we kind of, I shouldn't say we, because I get some of your emails. But there's concern about that. I think there was a lot of, Tim Walz is from Minnesota, so we're just giving up. Not so, this has gotten tighter. And I think if things break the way that they are for Trump, this could be an even bigger night. And when we do the final iteration of this next Wednesday, let's see where this is. But I'm telling you right now, it's not moving towards Kamala. It's moving away from Kamala. So let's just, I just want to make clear, those two states I didn't think I'd be talking about as much today. I am. Seth Keshel brought the receipts, showed us the data, and I'm going solid blue to light blue, trending towards Trump. Again, I think he put it best. I'm not saying we're going to win them, but I think that there's 4 states, you'll see 2 more coming, where we're doing this for. All right, let's get back to the solid blues, though. Colorado, no question about it. Those 10 electoral votes go for Kamala. And then we move a little further east, and we've got Illinois. So those 19 go for her. That gets us to 118 for her. And then let's go to the Northeast, right? We've got Vermont with its 3. Now, I said this last time. We're going to go to New Hampshire, 4 electoral votes. You heard Seth the other day. Because it's only 4 electoral votes, we haven't had a lot of interest. Same way we didn't with New Mexico and Minnesota. I'm going back from solid blue to light blue on New Hampshire as well. So it's moving towards Trump. The data shows that, Harris is still up there, but only slightly. She's up just within the margin of error right now. And it's moving towards Trump again. We keep talking about this trend. So let's see next Wednesday where I'm willing to go with this. But right now, I'm going the opposite way. I've got one more state. I bet you can guess it now, but we're not there yet. That's moving in his direction. So this gets her there. Now, Massachusetts, we're going back to the solid blue. That's 11 electoral votes for Kamala. No question about that. And then the same thing with Rhode Island's 4. There's no question. Although I will tell you, I think Rhode Island's going to come in a lot closer than people think. I spend a lot of time there. I grew up there. I'm just telling you, I don't think we'll win it. But Rhode Island, I think, and this is like the anecdotal side of me, right? Which I always tell you guys, focus on the data. So I don't want to go off on a tangent on non-data specific things. But I'm telling you, I think Rhode Island is going to come through closer than we've seen in the last 2 cycles. Not going to win it, but a lot closer, because I think so many working men and women, there's a lot of people who make their living on the Bay, fishermen, etc., that I think are tired of the Harris-Biden administration and their policies. I think they're voting Donald Trump. I talk to Uber drivers all the time. They'll say the same thing. Lawn care people, the working men and women out there, I think, understand how their policies of this administration have affected them. They're going to vote for Trump. So that's my prediction there. Connecticut, 7 electoral votes. Again, there was some play for the 5th district, which is down in that southwest kind of corner and up a little district. If you're a Connecticut person, you remember like Chris Shays, Gary Franks back in the day. There was some play there. The NRCC, I think, is backing away because it's not even right. So we're putting all 7 in their column. I do want to go back up to Maine. We always talk about this. 4 electoral votes. I think it's interesting because if New Hampshire goes that way, but I'm still willing. I haven't seen any statewide polls. We're going to go back and give her 3 of Maine's 4 electoral votes. The 2 at large and the 1st congressional district are going to go for her. We'll obviously cover the other one later, but that gets her 3 of Maine's 4. So we're done for New England. Let's go back to the Mid-Atlantic. Down here we go. New Jersey, 14 are going for Harris. Delaware's 3. Maryland's 10, and obviously DC's 3. I'm not going to go on my full diatribe. If you're new to the show, just know the Democrats have a phony plan about making DC a state because they say they care about voting rights. Go back and watch a previous episode. Just know this. It's not about voting rights. It's about 2 extra senators. They took part of Virginia already and gave it back. If they really are concerned, they can give the part of Maryland back, carve out a federal district where everybody's happy, keeps the framers happy in case they're watching us from up above. And it allows Maryland to get all of their citizens in their territory back, which they gave us, and it keeps everybody happy and gives voting rights. Democrats know that's the smartest and best option, but they don't want it because they want 2 more U.S. senators. So just there's my diatribe on that. All right, keep moving a little south. We're here now in Virginia. Guys, I've told you this before. Last time we won Virginia, 2004, I was one of the electors here. I moved it to blue because she was getting outside the margin of error. I'm just telling you, I think, let me just see if I can find. We're now looking. I mean, Harris is getting closer. The trend, for a while was outside the margin of error. It's getting closer. I'm putting that back in the light blue. There's my 4th state that's light blue. I think where I am up in Northern Virginia is very difficult to overcome, but we're trending in the right way. So look at those 4 states that I talked about based on the data that we saw earlier this week from Seth Keshel. Minnesota, New Mexico, New Hampshire, and now Virginia, all moving in the Trump direction. That's 32 additional electoral votes that might be at stake. But we've got one more week. When we tune in next week, I'll give you the big update on that. All right, let me catch us back up. And then I think the one that I missed on her side so far is Nebraska's 2nd district. Now, Dan has emailed me. If you go to SeanSpicer.com, sign up for my newsletter. I do a VIP section there and everything. But if you go to SeanSpicer.com and sign up, Dan has been emailing me, and he's been saying why, he's so concerned that potentially we end up at a 268, 270 electoral, and Nebraska 2 is the one key thing. Because if you flipped it the other way, it would be 269, 269. The House would matter, right? I get it, Dan, and hopefully things are trending. It sounds like Deb Fischer, who's running for the Senate, is coming out a lot stronger. There's a lot of money going into Nebraska now that could potentially put Nebraska 2 in play. I will do this for you. I'm going to shade it light blue. This is a game time call. I was not going there. I'm going to shade Nebraska 2 because there's so much money flowing into Nebraska to make sure that Deb Fischer, the incumbent Republican senator, gets shored up, that maybe, Dan, this helps secure that Omaha area where they have got they call it the blue dot there. I'll go light blue for now. We'll update it next week. We'll talk about that. But now we're at 33 electoral votes that are potentially. But Don Bacon, the Republican senator, congressman who represents the 2nd district, has been a little skittish about what's happening there. This should not be a slam dunk for Harris. I agree with you. It should be in play. They've got a team out there working the ground from the Trump Force 47 effort. I'm just telling you, I will try to get more information about Nebraska 2 for next week. I've got some folks on the ground that I can call about this. I'll get you an update whether or not when we do it next Wednesday, we will be, if you're not playing at that point at a serious level, it's not in play. So we'll find out more, but that one I'm willing to do that. All right, let's get to the other side. Let's get to the red states to fill in the blanks here. Before I get to the Trump states, though, we got one more sponsor that I want to tell you about. You guys have heard me before talk about this. I get going every morning. I get jacked up. I'm all sort of getting excited about the next day's show, the questions, the research, looking at early vote numbers. I need to wind down. And the way I wind down every night is with the Beam Dream Powder. I had last night the brownie. This is the cinnamon cocoa one, which is amazing. I wanted to switch it up last night, and so I had the brownie flavor one. It's like choosing between your favorite children. You can't do it. The flavors are amazing. This stuff is filled with all of those like natural ingredients. And I know I've tried it before. I had a melatonin pill. Then I had a magnesium one and reishi and apigenin. This is all of those natural things in one amazing flavor. I take it. I put a scoop in water, stir it around, put it in the microwave. Last night I did it for a minute. I always go 30 seconds. Last night I wanted to see just to see if it got it that much hotter. It did. Then I had to let it cool off. But I love the stuff. Half hour before bed, and then your head hits the pillow and you're out. I woke up this morning on my alarm. And that's what I'm telling you. And I was like, boom, let's go. Went for a run. You get an amazing night's sleep. You wake up. I'm telling you, I've tried all sorts of sleep aids to get to sleep, to stay asleep. This stuff is amazing. And I've missed a couple nights. I admit that. And when you do, you know the difference. Trust me when I say, if you have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, try Dreams Beam Powder. You go to shopbeam.com/Spicer. Shopbeam.com/Spicer. Up to 40% off. I don't know how it always works. If I were you, I'd stock up, though. 40% off is an amazing deal. All right, let's go with the Trump states. We're going to go west to east, north to south, same way we did. I'm going to start with Alaska. Oh, I didn't hit Hawaii, did I? I'm sorry. I knew it. There's a reason I always put this in the script before we get to Trump. I knew my math was a little off. So there we go. We're going in. Kamala at 198, but I think 33 are questionable. Here we go, Trump. I won't do this again now. I'm going to start with Alaska's 3. Just so we're clear, this is why Dan gets all excited, who keeps emailing me about Nebraska 2. Because if this was a tie, every state in the new House of Representatives gets one vote. Senate votes for the vice president, but it's the new Congress, not the old one. The House right now is represented in Alaska by Mary Peltola, a Democrat. Long story how she got there. But Nick Bisich is right now up 5 points. This is a flip. That means Alaska's one vote would go to Trump. California would go, obviously, to Harris. Every state in the new Congress, in the House, gets one vote for president. You care about this because, God forbid, it did end up as a tie. You want as many states, congressional delegations controlled by Republicans. The Senate would pick the VP. So this could be huge, too, on that side. I'd have to do the math because that's a little weirder because, obviously, if you have 1 and 1, like a Democrat and a Republican, they cancel each other out. So the states where you get 2 Republicans is going to be huge. Anyway, that's why Alaska matters and why Dan is so obsessed with Nebraska too, because if it gets to be tied, it's all going to matter. So we're adding Alaska's in. Now let's go northwest down. Montana's 4, in for Trump. Idaho's 4, in for Trump. Wyoming's 3, in for Trump. Utah's 6, in for Trump. No changes, right? All this looks familiar to you. Let's go back up north and move south. We're going to go North Dakota's 3, Trump. South Dakota's 3, Trump. That's so cute, right? They both get 3. There's a little parody in the Dakotas. Nebraska, we talked about this. Trump, they have 5 electoral votes at stake. Like Maine, they're the only 2 states that divide their electoral votes by congressional district. They have 5 congressional districts. We talked about Nebraska 2nd district and why Kamala currently gets that one on the light blue. Trump gets the other 4, the 2 statewide at-large electoral votes, and then the 1st and 3rd congressional districts. So he's got 4 coming out of Nebraska. We'll see where we are next week. I will try to get an update there. All right, let's get back on the solid red part. Kansas solidly at 6. Oklahoma solidly at 7. Texas is 40 there. I gave you, by the way, that Ted Cruz update. Made me breathe a little easier. It looks like Ted Cruz is doing a lot better. Their only attempt to pick up seats, they had 3 seats that they were kind of targeting. Nebraska, where Deb Fischer, the Republican incumbent, looks like she'll be okay. Ted Cruz, the latest polls, again, the trends are moving his way. And then Rick Scott in Florida, same thing, trending in the right way. He's going to be fine. They were all, that's it. Now Dems are done. They're going to lose the Senate. Whew, made me breathe easier. Getting through Trump's nominations he has to have at least 52, 53, so that in case Lisa Murkowski or Susan Collins has an issue with somebody, we're not counting on them. I'd love to be at 53, 54, FYI. All right, we just did Texas's. Again, a lot of red on that map. Let's go back up north and come down south. You got Iowa. They've got 6 electoral votes. Those go in the Trump column. Missouri, 10. Those are in the Trump column. Arkansas is 6 in the Trump column. Louisiana's 8 in the Trump column. Now, back up north again. Indiana's 11. Kentucky's 8. Tennessee's 11. Mississippi's 6. Alabama, 9. Now, real quick, let's just take a look. We're at 158 to 198. A lot of territory, right? It's just always, I always get a kick out of this. No matter how many times we do it, how much red is on the board. Sort of like when you go to a game and they show you the shots on goal. Like one team's got like 20, the other team has 1, and the score's tied 1-1. You're like, how does that happen? You know, it's in this. When I look at this map, I'm like, all the red, and we're still not winning. All right, let's go back up and go down. Ohio's got 17 electoral votes. J.D. Vance is going to deliver his own state. I don't think that was an issue ever, but 17 electoral votes there. 4 in West Virginia, and that's, again, I mentioned this before, the 2 big Senate guaranteed pickups. West Virginia is one because Joe Manchin, the Democratic senator, retiring, Jim Justice, the current Republican governor, taking over there. That gets the Senate 50-50 to parity. Then Montana pick up that Sheehy versus Tester race. That's a pickup. That gets Republicans up 1. Just a quick side note here. I think Ohio, Bernie Moreno wins. That gets us to 52. And then I feel bullish on the blue wall states. So I'm telling you, we could end up 54, 55, which would be amazing for a lot of reasons, because there's going to be a lot of folks already in cycle for that next 2 years later. This is a great playing field for us. So the more you can pick up, the better. It's like running the score up in the second quarter, like get it going. All right. We're back at South Carolina at 9 for Trump. And then Florida's 30. I was obviously a little concerned. Remember, we had Haley on the show, talked about the storm. I think that was weathered. You know, I've got some folks down there that I know. Everybody seems to be in a place where they're getting taken care of. DeSantis administration done a great job. So I think any concerns I had are gone. I think Rick Scott's showing that he'll be gone, doing good as well. So we're good there. Maine, I think we covered. We didn't cover. I'm sorry. So we've got Maine 2. We left out. And I think for everything that I'm seeing, right, we are now, that should go to Trump, that Maine 2nd congressional district. Austin Terrio, the congressional candidate there on the Republican side. I I feel feel good about that. So we are now. Let me just double check. We are at one. I'm trying to think if I left anything out. Nevada's there, Arizona, Georgia. So I missed New York. My bad. For the Democrats, I don't think there's any question about that. We should do well some of the congressional seats, but we've got New York, so that puts us at 226 to 219. Okay, so let's kind of that we've added in the tier 2 states, and we're back down to those battleground states. As I said, the big change right now, and I made a game time decision to add in Nebraska 2nd District so I can update you next Wednesday on where that stands. I mean, I might update you before, so always tune in. I forgot. I should always say that. Always tune in because you never know. But we'll definitely do it next Tuesday. And then those 4 tier 2 states that are moving away from Kamala, we'll see if we can get some better data on them for the Wednesday show next week. But I feel good about them. Them moving in the right direction. But let's do what we do all the time. Let's get down to those 7 battleground states. And I'm telling you, like, it's so amazing. You look at the number of people who I got comments from the Seth Keshel show, the guy Shiraki interviewed the other day when he talked about, or yesterday when he talked about Pennsylvania. We I think, who watch the show are so much more informed because we base it off data and statistics of early vote and registration numbers. It's not just vibes, which is what so many of these folks that I see online are like, I feel good about. Well, I hope you feel good. And I like that there are more yard signs, but that's not what wins election, right? Turning people out wins. And I've got some great news. I mean, it is so good to see. All right. We started with Arizona. I want to put, if I can, I mean, you guys saw the chart that I showed you from Seth Keshel. Every one of their counties moving in the right direction. And the big ones, the Maricopas of the world, right? Where Phoenix is. I mean, you look at this. Republicans had a 3.9% advantage in 2020. It's now 6.6. That, as Seth explained to us, was such a huge, that those numbers, it becomes overwhelming. I mean, Seth was basically talking about a 5-point win. And when we looked at the Nate Silver thing, let me pull this back up real quick. What did Seth say the other day? I can see Trump winning 5 points. Nate Silver, when I showed you that poll earlier, if the polls are off the way they were in 2020, what does he say? Trump 5. See, this is why the data matters, though, because it starts to all look the same when you do it, right? Because it makes sense. It's not just someone's thought or idea or feeling. It actually makes sense. And that's where I'm telling you, I think that we are on path with all of these voter registration numbers in Arizona to see a 5-point win coming out of Arizona. So I still feel very good about this. There's a story that came out last night that I just want to share with you that echoes this. Dems see warning signs for Harris with youth vote in Arizona. Young voters turned out in record numbers in Arizona in 2020. Trump is making inroads with them now. Young people may be in their voting age, many don't, blah, blah, blah. And Democrats in Arizona are warning it could hobble her here. She's got problems all over the place. Right now, Trump has a 1.8 Real Clear Politics average lead, 49.1 to 47.3. It's growing. Last week it was 1.1, right? Trafalgar just came out with another poll showing him in the right direction as well. And when you look at where he is in these polls, like Trump up 3, tied, Trump up 3, Trump up 2, Trump up 5, Trump up 2. Harris isn't even on the board in a poll in October. This is all great news for Trump. So again, we put this in the strong red. I'm keeping it there. I feel very good after what Seth told us to keep Arizona in the mix. So let's add that in if we can, and we'll move on to Georgia. Now, here's the thing. Georgia is hitting record early votes. And when I first saw the numbers in Georgia, I went, oh boy, we're screwed. Because you look at it traditionally and historically over the last couple cycles and go, a big number doesn't work for us. Except I started getting emails from people saying, Sean, are you looking at the data yet? I said, no, I haven't seen the data yet. Well, this is big. Mail-in voting is whiter, which benefits Trump if you look at percentage-wise. The black vote is down. It is huge for Trump. He is now up 2.5 in the Real Clear Politics average. 49.8 to her 46.4. Let me just read you again. These are the Trump polls from October. Trump up 4, Trump up 2, Trump up 1, Trump up 2, Trump up 6, Trump up 3, Trump up 1, Trump up 1. You notice what I didn't say? Trump, our Harris up ever. She is not in one single poll leading. Not one. And the Trump trend is moving in his direction. The early vote numbers have been fantastic because the rule vote early is coming out big. This is amazing. So I'm just telling you, Georgia, I was a little concerned about it, especially post-storm there too, because it touched on part of that. No question in my mind, Georgia in the Trump column. We can put that safely in the red column. So far, so good. Now, moving on to North Carolina, I have been very concerned. You remember last week I put this in light red because of the storm. Not because people weren't motivated. And I would get people to say, Sean, they're motivated. These people are upset about FEMA, about this administration, their ego. And it's not that I doubted their enthusiasm for voting. I doubted their ability. I mean, some of these people weren't getting the necessities in life and they were having a hard time. They couldn't get out of where they were. The roads were blocked and et cetera, et cetera. The municipality that they were voting in, the structures were gone. And so I was concerned that they couldn't, not that they didn't want to. Those concerns continue to be alleviated. Trump right now has a 0.4 lead, 48.2, 47.6. Very, very close in the public polling. Haley said, be careful of that. And I agree with him on that because you might be able to go vote, but you're probably not picking up a phone and talk to a pollster for 40 minutes if you got a tree through your house or you're still worried about power or what have you, or getting your land cleared. The early vote data is very, very good in North Carolina that Seth shared with us the other day. And the new registrations that we saw. Now, the media started to tell us all these people post-COVID moved to North Carolina. And Seth answered that question. It's like, yeah, they did, but they moved to 2 counties and we moved to the rest. North Carolina, in my mind, we're going to keep light red for now, but still trending in the right way for Trump. I want to move on to Nevada. Now, you guys have heard me say I had this in the blue column. I was told by Robert Cahaley, who I trust empirically, don't be careful of this. But here's the thing. The early vote in Nevada is better than any state that I've seen. Check this out. Currently, polling-wise, Trump is up almost a point, 0.9, 47.8 to 46.9. It's almost all Trump when you look at this poll. Trump up 2, tie, Trump 2. Harris up 1, Harris up 1. But it's moving in the Trump direction. But here's the kicker. This is, as of today, the mail-in vote. Dems, 114,286. Republicans, 127,978. The GOP lead statewide in early and absentee, 13,000. This is massive. Remember, I just want everyone to understand this. Republicans tend to vote on election day, okay? So Democrats massively outpace us in early vote, both in terms of absentee and in-person early vote. When you're beating them like this in Nevada, in Washoe, in Clark, these are where Vegas is in Clark, Washoe is where Reno is, right? This is where they need to run up the score. Republicans have never done this. Never. Look, we got 13 days to go. We got a little bit of time. But Republicans are closing the registration gap. In 2020, Dems held a 87,000 vote registration lead. 87,416. That was 4.7% advantage for the Democrats. That's down to 1 point, a 19,223, okay, as of 1 month ago. They've lost 60,000, 67,000 people. This is not moving in their direction, and the early votes show it. In rural mail ballots, the Republicans lead the Democrats by a very wide margin. They account for 8,000 of the Republicans. The rural vote is coming in. The Republican lead in rural Nevada is more than double the Dem lead in urban Nevada. This is not good for the Dems. This is great for us. Any concerns that I've had about Nevada are gone. By the way, if you're concerned about that Senate race, right now, Jackie Rosen has a 5.3% advantage over Sam Brown, but that's down from 7. It's trending in the right direction for Sam Brown, right? That's a good thing. So I'm just telling you, and Nevada's still got a very high unemployment rate at 5.5%. And inflation has hit Nevada very hard. I say that because these people are upset about policies. Trump's no tax on tip, no time on overtime, no tax on cars, American cars, by the way, is very much advantage, helping him. I'm going from Nevada. I'm making a very hard shift. I'm putting that solid red. I think Nevada's 6 electoral votes go to Trump. So I'm just telling you now, they are concerned for the right reasons. I'm telling you, Trump is there. Now, look at where we are, 268. He is 2 electoral votes away from winning. I'm going to tell you, again, I don't mean to go back to this. This is why Dan is obsessed with Nebraska, too. If you take that one off of her, and just give her everything else, don't do it now. But I'm just saying, if you were to give Kamala Harris everything else on the board and flip, then she wins 270, 268. If you flip Nebraska too, it's a 269 tie. Right? This is why this matters, guys. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. I feel like he's trending in the right direction in the blue states, but I'm just telling you. All right, let me get to these other states quick. Wisconsin. Trump is now up 0.4, 48.3 to 47.9. This is a shift since last time. Harris was up 0.3 last time. So we're seeing the shift, the trend move to Trump. I'm telling you, absentee ballot requests for Democrats are not coming in the way that they have historically. All good news for us. Baldwin now up 2 in the Senate race over Eric Hovde. Again, this is getting tighter. Trafalgar has a brand new poll over there showing Hovde up 1. This is a critical race for us. I've told you before, I think these blue wall states are sleepers. This is going to go for Trump. I will put this in the light red column, but I'm telling you, we're trending in the right direction. Wisconsin's 10 electoral votes trending in the right direction. We get to Michigan. Michigan's 15 electoral votes. Let me tell you where we are right now. Trump is up 1.2, 48.4 to 47.2. The trend, as I've said in all these, continues to go his way, right? Michigan right now, Trump up 2, Trump up 3, Trump up 1, tie, Trump up 4, Trump up 1, Trump up 2. That sounds more like Georgia than Michigan, doesn't it? I'm telling you guys, this is a sleeper state and a sleeper race. Trump is where we need him to be. I'm going to put Trump in the light red column right now because it's going right now. We'll look at both of these next week to see if we can get them in the solid red if the trends continue. But this has got to make Team Trump feel good. Now, and by the way, how many organizations have not endorsed Kamala Harris? Unions, firefighters, these Arab groups. She's having a problem with Young. This is where Michigan's going to be critical in terms of her coalition falling apart. All right, let's get to must win. Oh, by the way, in that Senate race, again, I still think Mike Rogers could be that sleeper, the big sleeper one that no one's talking about. But we'll have more data on that next week. Let's just get to Pennsylvania because this is it. The Pennsylvania must win 19 states. Trump is now up 0.8 there, 47.9 to 47.1. Trafalgar's latest poll has him up 3. This is moving. Again, what are you seeing in every one of these states? The trend to the right, the trend to Donald Trump. This is amazing. Let me read you the latest public polls in Pennsylvania. Trump up 3, Trump up 3, Trump up 3, Harris up 3, Trump up 1, Trump up 1, Trump up 2. With the exception of that one poll, all moving in the Trump direction. There's a reason he spent all last weekend in Pennsylvania at the rally, then at that McDonald's, and then at the Pittsburgh game. It's having a difference. Those registration numbers that we've talked about with Scott Pressler, we talked about it with Seth Keshel, all moving in the right direction. Pennsylvania's 19 electoral votes, light red in the Trump column. Here's where we are. Let's just take a look, big picture. Let's pull it out and look at the map real quick. 312. I had it at 306. I'm now going 312 to 226 for Donald Trump. And here's the thing. As I told you, those 4 states plus Nebraska too, moving in the Trump direction. This number could get a lot higher. I thought I was going out on a limb when I said 306. I'm now solidly at 312. My friends, this could be even bigger. You put those 33 on top of that, right? 45. You're at what? 345 to 226. That would be an absolute blowout. Frankly, I'd be so excited that night. But this is where we are. I don't want to get giddy. I don't want to get excited. I don't want to measure the drapes. We got to keep our foot on the pedal, my friends. But we are trending in the right direction with 13 days left. Everyone you know, get yourself a little sticker by going to vote. Get one of these stickers. Go out, cast your vote. Bring 5 friends. Find out what their plan is to vote. But we can make this number even higher. As I said, we're at 312, 226. All right. We have a massive election night planned for you, so do not miss that. Hit that notification button now. You're going to want to make sure you spend election night with us. We'll do the regular show, and then from 8 p.m. at least until midnight, we'll be going live in our new election night headquarters studio. It is going to be amazing. All sorts of guests. We're going to have people in. Great panel discussion set for tomorrow. Go to my Substack, SeanSpicer.com. Sign up for the latest alerts. It's all free, unless you want to be a VIP. Of course, I'm always welcoming that. And we'll see you every morning on the morning meeting on my YouTube channel as well. Have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow with an amazing panel. Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.